Well, g'day, Max here again. Welcome back to the shop, or should I say the museum. So we'll give you a quick update on our progress and have a quick wander. So as far as I can remember, last video we were shooting, I was sheeting this wall, and I think I got up to where I was doing this door frame here. So we've managed to complete this wall. We'll have a look from the outside. So I'm quite happy the way all that's came out. So that's the two main side walls are completed. So after that I moved on to the roof on the other side. So we'll go over there. So looking in under the veranda area of the northern wall. So that under here gets shade all day long, except for the very end bit there and the very end bit there when the sun sets. So that's a good thing. It keeps the hot sun off the walls. And then here's a shot. That's the completed north side roof. We still have to, once I roof up the other side, we still have to, that's a full length window that's going to go up across there. I didn't want any windows actually directly on the roof or that clear sheeting on the roof. So with this designer window, there's actually not much sun will enter in the shop through that window, but the light will come in. My next 2 weeks mission is to complete the sheeting on the entire big part of the roof. And of course it's a full length sheets that run from the apex, the very tip up there with a slight overhang, and they run down and cover the balcony or the veranda area the same as the other side. So there the sheets in the distance on the ground over there. Yeah, they're 11, just over 11 metre sheets. So we'll get them up there next week and the week after. Hopefully the weather will be on my side and it won't be too windy. You can't have wind up there with your sheeting. It gets a bit dangerous. Plus it's really painful when you're laying down the insulation as the wind keeps moving it around. So I've got a few of my old gems over there under the covers, as I've just had to move them out of the way from where they were. Of course that lathe was in the middle of the shop. The horizontal borer, well, that's a new acquisition, and the little Herbert lathe down the end there, well, that was sitting in near the doorway, so that had to be moved. So I've shown the Herbert before. This is due for a full restoration. It's just basically a full mechanical inspection, stripped down. The bedways and all that are in good condition. We'll get back to this one. And I don't know, I haven't really gone into any detail on this lathe here. This is a 24-inch swing, 10 feet between centres, or 3 metres between centres, 600mm swing. It's an Italian lathe. It's my Heron K24, made by Meisel. Now I do believe Meisel was picked up later on by an Indian company, and I think they made in India nowadays or something like that, but this is an Italian one. Now, some people might think I've got rocks in my head for buying this lathe, because the condition of it is really rather sad. But I brought it, there's 2 reasons why I picked this up. Well, there's 3 reasons. One was the price. The second one was the features that this thing can do. It has a really a good speed range. I don't know if we can see. We're going from, where are we? The lights, I'm playing havoc. 12 RPMs up to 1200 RPMs. Plus it has the 8-to-1 feed option as well as the standard 1-to-1. So That gives you a really coarse range of feeds and pitches if required. So basically thread cutting, this will cut a thread if we're going an imperial from 72 TPI down to 3 TPI in a standard range, or in the 8 TPI range, 4.5 threads per inch, down to 3/8 of a thread per inch, or we go to metric, 0.41 millimeter pitch to 10 millimeter pitch, standard range on the 8:1, 6.66 up to 80 millimeter pitch. And this has some really oddball thread pitches that this lathe covers. I've never seen anything like it. Oh, excuse me. The other thing with this machine, the bedways are in a pretty sad condition. So I set myself a bit of a challenge. I want to be able to grind the ways on this machine and bring it back to some usable level of accuracy. So that's the challenge I've set myself for this one, and I'm quite confident we'll get there. So at the end of the day, with very little investment, I'll end up hopefully with a bloody good lathe. Of course, I still have my 21-inch swing, which will be my main lathe. So that's in the other shed, hasn't been brought into the shop. Neither has the big mill or big shaper or any of the other gear, the big ID grinder. So anyway, let's go and have a look at our latest acquisition. While we're at the Heron lathe, this lathe also has carriage stops, cross slide stops, and has rotatable indexable carriage stops as well. So that's another really good feature to have on the lathe. Plus it's got this big slotted cross slide. Now I have a hydraulic copy attachment, and I was originally going to put that on my 21-inch swing lathe, but that lathe has a taper turning attachment and I don't want that to get in the way. I want that still to be usable. So the hydraulic copy attachment will go on this machine. If you've never seen one, it's like very similar to the one that Keith Fenner, if you've ever watched his show, has on his one of his lathes. So it's just a hydraulically operated tool that follows, or it's activated by a like a tracer attachment. Like it has a little pin tool that comes down and follows a profile, which you mount on a there's another attachment bolts to the carriage of the bed of the lathe. Anyway, you'll see that when I dig it out. It's off a Dean Smith and Grace lathe, so English part going on an Italian lathe will make it fit. So this is my latest acquisition. So graphene Staden horizontal borer. These very rarely come up for sale over here in Western Australia at an affordable price. So this one came up at an auction, and said to myself, I think we better get this. So I told the wife, come on, let's go and have a look at your Christmas present. So it's generally the bedways on it are in reasonable condition. There's still a lot of life left in them. They're big, like 6-inch boxways. The table's still in good condition. A couple of minor marks there, and there, and the rest of it's all still good. It's 3-inch spindle through it. So what we'll do with this will get a full strip down and a full overhaul, this machine. repaint. This is going to get the whole box and dice, this one. As it's such a valuable asset to have in the shop. And you just can't go and buy one of these over here. Normally these are sold in the eastern states of Australia, and that's 3,000 and 4,000 kilometres away, depending on, you know, whether you're going from Sydney or Melbourne. And starting price for these over there, old ones, is $10,000. I've never seen one come up over there for under $10,000. Now you add GST, which is another 10% on top of that, and then freight to Western Australia, which you're not going to get much change out of $3,000 or $2,000 to $3,000 on top by the time it's trucked over. And then if you want to go and inspect the machine, you better be allowing probably another $1,500 in airfares and accommodation. So this one popped up at the right price, so I was a mug not to grab it. I mean, there's a lot of hours of my time will have to go into this machine, but at the end of the day, I think it'll be well worth it. So that's a major future project coming up after the completion of the shed. But, due to the size of this one here, we'll probably knock the Herbert off first and get that one out of the way, and we'll get into this one. This borer also came with a whole heap of boring bars. They're just shop-made boring bars. There's some big ones there. That's about 110, 120 mil boring bar, that one there. And down to small boring bars. There's another old facing chuck came with it. I don't believe this is off this machine. So that's something I'm going to have a good look into and see if we can or probably overhaul it. And once I'm sure it's not off this machine, I'll sell it, because these are very valuable, and they're not the sort of thing you can just go down the corner shop and pick one up, a facing chuck. It just doesn't happen. So here's the steady tailstock for the end of the borer, with a heap of tool mounting blocks too for the facing chuck. Now this came with it too. This is a huge tailstock off a much bigger horizontal borer. It doesn't even fit my machine. So I'll go through this and I'll sell it. Move it on separate. Now this seems to happen from time to time. These get separated from the machine and the machines get sold, moved on, and then you get people buy a machine, and it happens on I've seen it happen a few times, and they don't have the rear tailstock support. So this is off a metric machine. It's a later model machine than my one. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, we'll do some investigation on this part. You never know at the end of the day. If I sell this and that chuck, it's going to cover most of the cost of that horizontal borer that I just brought. And there's there's our tailstock there, support there. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, so that's basically where we're at the moment. So yeah, as I said, the next fortnight I'll try and do my best to complete the roof, and then it's just the east and west walls, roller doors, and the flashing, and that's the basic structure completed. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.